I think some people are going to be able to come out of this and say, you know what, I've grown. And
Yeah.
some people are just going to be even more and more damaged. And the sad thing is that we're doing these, stimulus payments, and they're pretending to try to find other types of jobs for people and set up stuff. But like, what's going to help everybody get their minds right when they come out of this? That's what no one's talking about. Because a lot of people have been listening to whatever's been on the news, whether it's been a truth or a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, they've got this level of fear. Like, I just spoke to my aunt the other day, and I told her, I can't wait for all of this to kind of go back to normal and go away so that we can just kind of go back to raw dogging some oxygen when we're out
Yeah.
or in a
Yeah.
store or whatever,
Yeah.
so she was saying anyone who comes to visit her has to wear a mask because, she's fragile medically somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, but she's gotten the vaccine. But even having gotten the vaccine, she's still like, well, the vaccine isn't 100%. So
Yeah.
she's like,
The fear is implanted.
the fear is implanted.
Yeah,
She doesn't
she
feel,
gave ground for it to actually, bear fruits that, yeah, she planted that seed and then boom, yeah. And
right.
it's
And
funny
there's
because
nothing else.
not to cut you, but supposedly which era is it? The era of Aquarius or something where things are just is a 5D, right? Fifth
Right.
dimension. We enter the fifth dimensional sort of era where everything is going much faster. From if you're looking at babies, how they understand things, or even the youth, teenagers, etc., the things that they speak on, the way they look, the way they dress, it's very, very, very shocking. And it's almost
Yeah.
like we are that generation that's like, shit, how do we make sense of this whole thing and just sort of like give them the basis without also trying to frustrate them. But
Let me
it's
tell you
complicated,
something.
y'all. Super
The
fucking complicated.
minister said this a long time ago, and I
Mr.
see it.
Farrakhan.
Yeah, he said,
Mhm.
Minister Farrakhan said that these kids, these youth, these kids who are teenagers, and these kids coming up now, they don't have that fear that we have, that we grew up
No.
with. It's not there. So this is a group of warriors that we would have to take us into the next millennium strong. And look what they're doing to them now. Not allowing them in school, having them sit in school with masks, conform to having their temperature taken every day, and
But wouldn't
being
that
made to
be
feel like,
expected? But at the same time, sister, this is the counter. I would say that that's kind of like the duty of any government, especially if you're dealing. And again, if we were looking at it from the perspective of like nobody knows what this virus was in the first place, and they're just trying to make sense of it as they go, and they're trying to be as preventive as possible. But then there's people who's like, yeah, but this shit was made up from the beginning. Everybody knew. Fucking Bill Gates and his wife was behind it. Da 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 da
right,
da
right,
da
right.
da da da. And it's like, okay, I mean, yeah, if it's possible, anything is at this point. And the problem is that at this point, everybody pretend to possess the truth. And I think Kesha spoke a lot on that on his shows, and we had this conversation
Right.
where it's like social media has enabled people with microphones and loudspeakers, but nobody owns up to the shit they say. That's why I was actually, when we started this conversation, I was like, as long as we can back up what we say, let's still speak on that, because at least there is a capacity to come forth and say, yeah, I say that because. But now it's like people will just say, hey, XYZ the fucking molester, or XYZ, and you stand accused, you stand actually guilty,
Right.
but there's no proofs, there's no basis on anything. But yeah, no, it's true, probably right. And next thing you know, some people would say, when you spoke about Illuminatis and stuff like that, and me asking these questions, well, he must be, you know what I mean? There's some really like social
Right. And you're
media is a
conspiracy
great
theorists or
thing.
whatever.
Yeah. There's like it enables so many great things, and I understand that it also enabled a lot of nonsense. Like, look, I really am not. I don't even call myself a conspiracy theorist. I understand some of the alternatives. You call that you give that another name. You didn't call that conspiracy theorist. You said I don't know if it was you or Sister Brujita that was saying that those are alternative truths, right?
Right.
And it's almost like, yeah, I can definitely give
Alternative
credit.
facts, because right now,
Thank you, alternative facts, yes.
yeah,
And I can give credit to that, but it's like, okay, but then to a certain point, it's like, dude, let's not push this shit too far. Like, and I think a lot of the time why, for example, what you said is being discredited by a lot of people is because, unfortunately, some people talking about the mothership and all these things
right.
are indeed mentally very much fucked up and completely out of balance. Whereas you are a very well functioning human being, you pay your bills, you help kids, you help families, you're a very stable human being. And coming from, but again, a lot of the time, those who are being put out there as see, you're gonna listen to these fools because they
Right.
are indeed fools with a very heavy set of information that they cannot handle.
Well, I remember when the pandemic started, there were certain things that just didn't make any sense to me, just off the bat. So first of all, if it was a virus, from what I recall, anytime I've gone to the doctor and the doctor said you have a virus, I got sent home with a note. Nothing. They would send me home and say, drink some tea, take some over-the-counter medicine, bye.
Yeah.
So to me, if there's no medication you can prescribe for me for a virus, then that means the virus has to take its course and it has to come through my system, either through my stool or my mucus.
Yeah.
So that being the case, I treated this virus when I had it just like I would any other virus, Mucinex milk of magnesia. I pooped it out.
Can you repeat that? How did you treat it?
I took Mucinex, which is an expectorant that pulls the mucus out of your system and sends it out of your body. And
so
it's
something that you bought at the pharmacy, or it's like some alternative?
Yeah, it's just Mucinex is like what do they call it? I think it's called guafenicin.
Okay. Sprays that
I think. Well, but it's just a regular. It's a regular herbal thing that they put in regular medication.
So why I'm asking is because it's not you didn't go into some weird like obscure little houses and somebody could so it's something that you find in
a
pharmacy.
regular over-the-counter drug, and I think I got it. I even got one. I don't know if it's in that bag, but I got some from the Bahamas when we were there. It didn't have Mucinex, but it was just the name of the.
Yeah. I get it.
And it's an expectorant. It pulls mucus out. And then milk of magnesium.
And milk of magnesium, okay.
Right. And then I drank some water. And
so what is what is milk of magnesium, by the way?
It's a diuretic. Like it cleans your system out.
Okay.
Like, if you have if you're throwing up, you have a virus, and like if you have a stomach virus. A neighbor taught me that a long time ago. My daughter had a stomach virus that wouldn't go away. They were like, give her a spoon of milk of magnesia and it'll flush the virus out of her system. So I did, and it worked. And I was like, oh, milk of magnesia cleans the virus out of your system? Oh, okay, I'm using that from now on. So that's what I've always used. And you have a toilet day. Yeah, you have a day when you're on the toilet 10 times. You're pooping your brains out, but then like a day or two later, you're better because the virus went out.
It's been flushed out, yeah.
So that's what I did. I think like back in February, my daughter got sick first. She doesn't listen to me. I tried. I'm like, take the Mucinex. She refuses to swallow pills.
That was last year, right?
Yeah, last February.
2020. Okay.
And of course, they didn't test us for it because it wasn't March yet. They didn't start doing that until like March, May, around, So I knocked it out pretty quick. But also at the same time, I had cut dairy out of my diet because I had gone to an iridologist who looked in my eye because I was like, I have these bad migraines. Can you help me? I've gone to the neurologist. They say they can't find anything. He looked in my eye. What was his name? Dr. Lamar, I think. He was out of California. Brilliant person. Looked in my eye and he was like, you're eating too much dairy. I was like, am I? So he was like, what are you doing? Eating yogurt and cheese? I was like, yeah. He was like, how often? I was like, every day. So he was like, you have to cut that out and that'll help get rid of the migraines. Then he told me to drink water with lemon, ginger, mint, and cucumber. And to make that lemon cleanse and just drink it regular.
So it's just what you just put all these and you add water and you let it like sort of like.
Yeah, I just sit and then I just drink the water with the stuff in it. And I ate it
like a flavored water. Okay.
Sort of, but it kind of I could feel like whatever was happening, it was pulling the mucus out from behind my eyes.
So what was the component? So it was ginger, lemon.
Ginger, lemon, cucumber, and mint leaves.
Makes sense.
And you just put it into a bottle, the water, and you just drink that. And then the master cleanse is just like 6 lemons squeezed with a gallon of water, 8 ounces of maple syrup, and cayenne pepper.
Okay.
And it cleanses everything out of your system. So I had been doing that before I got sick. So it kind of passed through me in 4 days because I had already been detoxing. Now, my daughter, on the other hand, was sneaking and eating ice cream when she was sick. As was my brother. He had it for a month.
The virus, the Rona.
Yeah. Yep. He had it for a month. And he, like, later on was like, now my blood pressure's messed up. And he was just like, why did it take so long to pass through me? He was like, you know, other people just pass through them. So I was joking with him. I said, what were you doing? Drinking liquor and eating ice cream? He was like, yeah. Duh. That's why you stayed sick so long.
Yeah, it's true. So mucus. So yeah. Go ahead.
Because Dr. Sebi always talks about how, like, most viruses and most diseases exist in your body because of mucus.
Exactly.
So when I was having those migraines, it was because there was mucus built up behind my eyes, which is where I guess the mucus was sitting from me eating all that dairy.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, cleaning your body out and taking vitamins and exercising, it's like, it's not all that BS to get healthy, and it's mm-hmm. real. You know what I mean? Like, it's real, and you can improve your health. And I mean, at this point, I'm at an age now where, like, I had a lot of older friends, and my daughter has friends that are older than her too. And she was like, I kind of like that I have friends that are older than me. And I was like, it's cool now. I said, but let me tell you something, 20, 30 years from now, when they start to pass away, because because that's what's been happening to me during this whole pandemic. And, you know, some of the deaths, it's not because of the pandemic, it's just they're older. They haven't been taking care of themselves, you know. And then look at the industry that I've been around, where a lot of my friends are. They don't have health insurance. They haven't had health insurance.
And a lot of them have very bad eating habits.
Yes. Yep. Bad eating habits, drug use. Some people need to go and do more than just a detox to clean their system out from bad foods. You know, there's drugs, there's other stuff, and
let's quickly greet Mountain of Inspiration who joined us. Thank you, my king. Thank you very much. Welcome to all the queens and kings tuning in and who have been watching the show. Thank you all so very much. This is a beautiful conversation with Sister Kiara, who is one of the biggest supporter of Quarantine Grooves. And again, it's an honor to have such a queen bless us with her presence and her knowledge, because I believe that you know, it's important. It's important when you meet people who have so much to give. It doesn't always have to be like super known people. No. There are people just like you and I, or supposedly everyday people who are not just everyday, because you've done a lot as well yourself in the music industry, as you spoke in your introduction statements in the beginning of the conversation. But so we agree that mucus is so. Before we get there, again, to the point of the conversation, hard times will make or break you. These are some of, as we speak on that, these are some of the things that you do through these pandemics, to this unforeseen situation, which is a global matter that's affecting us all. And those are some of the rituals and practices that you can use to really enhance the quality of your life, not only in terms of like the comfort of your life, but also spiritually, physically. And you were talking about Dr. Sebi, who it's quite obscure, but they killed him pretty much. He was assassinated. Yeah.
But there were so many herbal doctors and natural doctors that were murdered in the past year or two. Now, and this is just my thought process. in the past couple of years before COVID, why put so much effort into making sure these natural healers were deceased? Because if they were alive right now, can you imagine the noise they'd be making?
But
Can you
don't you think
imagine?
that some guys are kind of like doing the job? Like, there's a guy that I don't know if you follow him, but Shaka Bars. I mean, he's a little far fetched in some of the things that he pushed. I mean, I don't think he's far fetched, but he has very sharp positions on certain things. But I do like most of his content, and I think he posts quite a lot of interesting things about, like, obviously, being healthy. He uses some of the quotes that social media likes. Like, the other day he was coming out of the pool, you can literally see his dick out of his pants. I mean, it was shaped in his pants when he was like, if you, and he was like, if you have, what did he say? If you have, what did he say? If you have confidence issues, something like that, don't follow me or something. So I think he's using that to trigger, I guess, people interest, women in that case, for example, and he's using that to just, it's that whole like woke and healthy sort of like wave, and it's like eating sea moss, I mean drinking sea moss every day and this and that, which are great habits, but I think there's a lot of a hype. But isn't that actually how you get these kind of eating habits to people who are maybe more basic in their understanding, to hype, to making it, packaging it in a way that's like, oh my God, it's so cool to eat fruits every day, by having guys like him, or other women who are showing themselves in more sexy ways. I don't know. Is it?
I mean, I think that'll work if that's the frequency you're on. But like, just imagine right now if all those natural healers and natural doctors were alive right now, they would probably say, hey, you know what? You don't need a vaccine. If you just eat this and do this and take these herbs, you don't need any of that. And you can, and like, if that was available, if that information was available on a wide basis, then all the money that stands to be made through illness, all the money that stands to be made from the pharmaceutical companies, from the vaccine makers, from the hospitals, from getting subsidies for all the people who die of COVID or whatever, like the money wouldn't be flowing.
But the problem is that with the narrative is that they'll tell you, okay, cool, you want to self-medicate, great, but what do you do if you start losing oxygen, and you need to you have accumulation of mucus in your body, etc., etc., as a result maybe of not actually maybe going about these.
But you were prescribed medication when you had COVID, right?
Me, when I was not prescribed the damn medication. I was just prescribed aspirin, and that was it.
They didn't give you anything?
The only medication that they gave me, actually, it's funny enough, I have it here. The only medication that I had was to help with my breathing at a certain point, was this inhaler. That's what I had, and it actually helped. It actually helped though, because I had, my chest felt at some point it felt very tight, but I had no like respiratory issues per se. But because I have asthma, mild asthma, it helped a little bit. But then I stopped after a week and a half. But then what I had, however, is because of when the COVID hit me, it fragilized my whole obviously, it's like HIV, right? So it messes up your immune system. And I tried to eat some salad, some greens, and that messed up my whole. Maybe there was a bacteria, it was probably not well cleaned, and that messed me up for a whole month. So my belly, actually, my whole digestive system was an absolute mess, and I stopped eating and drinking for about a week and a couple of days. Drinking, I was trying, but I would puke automatically. It was rather horrible. But I was not prescribed. In other words, the hospital sent me home saying, "Yeah, just drink, just have aspirin and just sit your ass home, and we'll call you every day." They never called me a single time. And I had two times where I had a heart. I had some. Well, because my sister had left me this thing that measured my oxygen in my blood and my heart rate, and there was one night where I felt like I was dying. My heart was at the 30 rhythm per minute, and my oxygen was like super fucking low, like some shit. I don't know if it was 8. I can't remember exactly, but I know it was very, very, very low. I couldn't barely breathe, and I remember that I went places. I even saw my father. Actually, my father talked to me. He said, "Look, you can come now. Well, it's not like he talked to me like I'm talking to you, but I could feel his voice. I could
No,
feel
I
his
know.
voice. And he
You
said,
had a
"Look,
near-death experience.
if you want to come now, you can. If you don't have the strength in you, but I know you have it. So this is just to show you that you need to realign your life in a certain way." That was what I got. That's not a verbatim what he said to me, or what was said to me. Maybe it's him, maybe so. But I was told that it was not my time.